The wind howled across the jagged cliffs of Tarlis IV, a planet scarred by centuries of war and neglect. The human reconnaissance team moved carefully through the ruins of an abandoned alien outpost, their footsteps muffled by the thick layer of ash that covered the ground. Jack, the team's leader, felt a chill in his spine that had nothing to do with the cold. Something was off. Something dangerous lurking beneath the quiet desolation. They had been sent to scout the outer perimeter of the alien regime's stronghold, a fortress that locals whispered about with fear. Rumors spoke of dungeons filled with prisoners, creatures that were part legend, part horror. Jack didn't believe in stories, but instinct told him to pay attention. "Keep your eyes open," he whispered to his team, his hand resting on the grip of his plasma rifle. "This place isn't empty." As they moved closer to the central structure, Jack noticed a faint light flickering beneath the main gate. At first he thought it was a trick of the wind or the ash, but the glow persisted. It was subtle, soft, almost like a heartbeat in the darkness. Curiosity mixed with caution, and Jack motioned his team to follow him to a side entrance, a narrow tunnel leading underground. The air grew damp and heavy as they descended. The faint glow grew brighter, revealing crude alien markings etched into the stone walls. Jack's eyes narrowed. These markings were old, centuries old perhaps, but they hummed with a strange energy he couldn't explain. He could feel it pulling him forward, urging him to go deeper, and then he heard it, a soft, pained cry, almost like a whisper. His heart skipped a beat. He motioned for the team to halt. The sound came again, more urgent this time, a mixture of fear and desperation. Jack's instincts screamed at him. Someone was down here, someone trapped. He moved ahead cautiously, rifle ready, until he reached a heavy, rusted gate. Beyond it, he could just make out the figure of a girl, hunched and trembling. Her skin glowed faintly, iridescent in the dim light, casting shifting colors across the stone walls. Her wings, delicate and almost translucent, were folded tightly against her back. She looked small, fragile, and utterly alone. "Who's there?" Jack called softly. The girl flinched at the sound of his voice, pressing herself further into the corner of the cage. I'm not dangerous," he said, lowering his rifle slightly. He crouched to her level. "I want to help you." "Can you understand me?" Her eyes, large and luminescent, darted to him. She nodded slightly, but her hand shook. "Please, don't." "Let them." Her voice trailed off, broken by fear. Jack's chest tightened. This wasn't just a prisoner. This was someone important, someone who had suffered. He glanced at the gate. It was locked with a mechanism unfamiliar to him. Alien in design, but sturdy. He had to think fast. "Stay calm," he said, scanning the area for tools. He spotted a jagged piece of metal on the floor, likely a remnant of the dungeon's decay. He pried at the lock, careful not to make too much noise. The girl watched, her eyes reflecting hope for the first time. Behind him, faint footsteps echoed. Patrols. They were close. Jack's pulse quickened. He worked faster, his hands steady despite the urgency. With a satisfying click, the lock gave way. The gate swung open, revealing the girl fully for the first time. Her name, whispered in awe as if sacred, escaped his lips without thinking. "Lyra," he said softly. She blinked at him, startled. Somehow he had spoken it right. The weight of her relief was palpable, though she still trembled. Jack extended his hand. "Come on. We have to move, now." She hesitated, her body weak from weeks of confinement. Jack knelt and helped her step over the threshold, feeling the frailty of her limbs beneath his hands. For a moment he felt the full gravity of what had happened here. The guards hadn't just captured her. They had tried to break her, to erase her light. But she was still alive, and he would not let them take her again. They moved through the dungeon corridors, silent shadows among shadows. Every corner held the threat of discovery, every step a risk. Jack's human senses, honed by years of combat, guided them. Lyra leaned on him, drawing strength from his presence, and he realized something remarkable. Her alien abilities, faint as they were now, were resonating with him, reacting to his courage. A group of guards appeared at the far end of the hallway, their weapons glinting in the dim light. Jack gestured for Lyra to stay back. He ducked behind a pillar and fired a concentrated burst of energy, disabling their weapons temporarily. Lyra gasped, her hands glowing faintly as a spark of light energy emanated from her fingertips, scattering the guards further. Jack's heart raced. She was learning, adapting, and he had no time to explain. He grabbed her hand, pulling her through a side passage he had noticed earlier. They emerged into the alien wilderness outside the fortress, the night sky ablaze with unfamiliar stars. The air was sharp and clean, and for the first time since he found her, Lyra drew a deep, shuddering breath. They didn't stop moving until they reached a dense forest, where alien flora glowed softly, creating pockets of light amid the shadows. Lyra collapsed onto a soft patch of moss, exhausted but alive. Jack knelt beside her, scanning the horizon. Patrols would be looking for them, but for now they were safe. I thought I would die there, Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. Jack placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You're safe now, he said. No one is taking you back there. Not while I'm here. Lyra looked up at him, her eyes wide with something akin to wonder. Why are you helping me? Jack smiled faintly, though his jaw was tight. Because it's the right thing to do. Because no one should suffer like that. She studied him for a long moment, her gaze piercing yet fragile. You are human? Yes, he said simply. And I won't leave you here. The forest around them was quiet except for the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hum of alien creatures. Lyra tried to stand but faltered. Jack caught her, holding her steady. He realized she was not just a prisoner. She was a symbol, the last hope of a dying race. Her survival mattered not just to her but to all those who had been lost. As night deepened, Lyra's strength slowly returned. She shared fragments of her story. Her people, the Starborn, were peaceful, their powers tied to energy and light. They had been hunted to near extinction by the ruling alien regime, who feared their abilities. Lyra had been taken as leverage, a pawn in a cruel game. Jack listened, every word fueling his determination. He had rescued her from the dungeon, yes, but that was only the beginning. Her survival was now his mission, and he would face any danger to ensure she lived to see freedom. The first hints of dawn painted the sky in streaks of violet and gold. Jack and Lyra sat together, surrounded by glowing alien plants catching their breath. Despite her weakness, there was a spark in Lyra's eyes, a light that had survived captivity and cruelty. Jack knew that together they could face whatever lay ahead. Suddenly a faint sound reached their ears, a low metallic vibration, like distant footsteps combined with energy pulses. Jack's instincts kicked in. We're not alone, he murmured. Lyra's wings twitched instinctively. They will come for me, she said, voice shaking. They will not stop. Jack tightened his grip on his rifle. Then we keep moving. They don't know what we're capable of yet. For the first time, Lyra smiled, a small, tentative smile that lit up her luminescent features. You are different from the others, she said. You give me hope. Jack's expression softened. And you give me purpose. Let's get you somewhere safe. They moved forward, deeper into the forest, guided by instinct, courage, and the faint light that seemed to respond to Lyra's presence. The dangers of the alien wilderness awaited, but Jack knew one thing clearly. Nothing would stop him from protecting her. Not patrols, not monsters, not even the dark shadows of the regime itself. As the sun rose higher, casting a pale light across the forest, Jack glanced at Lyra. She was fragile, yes, but not broken. Together they had escaped the dungeon, and together they would survive what came next. The story of the Starborn princess and the human who dared to rescue her was only beginning. The forest was alive with strange sounds, alien creatures moving silently through the shadows. Jack and Lyra pressed forward, their pace steady but cautious. Every step was a reminder that their escape was only the beginning. The alien regime would not let one of its prized captives go without pursuit. Lyra's wings twitched nervously as she tried to keep up. Her body was recovering, but she was still weak from weeks of confinement. Jack noticed the way her hands shook when she reached out to touch glowing plants along the path. He understood that she was trying to connect with the world again, trying to remind herself that it was hers to live in, not the dungeons. We need to find shelter, Jack said, scanning the forest. Somewhere they won't find us easily. Lyra nodded, her voice soft. I know of a place. An old Starborn sanctuary, abandoned but protected by energy fields. Only the Starborn can enter safely. Jack raised an eyebrow. You can get us through? She hesitated, then smiled faintly. I can try, but it will take time. I am not yet strong enough to control my powers fully. Jack trusted her. He had already seen glimpses of her abilities. The faint glow of her hands, the way light seemed to bend slightly around her when she was frightened. If she could master them, she would be a formidable ally. But for now she was fragile, and his human ingenuity would be their shield. They moved quietly, avoiding patrols and the strange, large predators that prowled the forest. Jack's senses were sharp. Years of combat had honed his instincts. He noticed footprints in the ash, disturbed soil, and subtle vibrations in the air. Every time danger loomed, he guided Lyra to safety, teaching her, without words, the art of survival in a hostile world. After hours of travel, they reached a cliffside overlooking a valley bathed in bioluminescent light. Strange plants glowed in every color of the spectrum, casting the valley in an otherworldly glow. Lyra's eyes widened. This is where my ancestors lived, she whispered. The sanctuary. Jack scanned the valley. Looks peaceful enough. But I doubt it's unguarded, Lyra nodded. There are protective fields. Old magic, old technology. I can open the path, but it will drain me. Jack's brow furrowed. You won't be able to fight if something comes while you do it. She looked at him with trust, a trust that filled Jack with a strange warmth. I can manage, I have to. This is my home, even if it is empty now. Together they descended into the valley. Lyra focused, her hands glowing brighter as she chanted in her Starborn language, the words vibrating through the air. Slowly, a path of light appeared before them, forming a shimmering bridge over the jagged rocks and glowing flora. Jack was impressed. Not bad, he said quietly, half to himself. Not bad at all. They crossed the bridge carefully. On the other side, the sanctuary spread out, a labyrinth of crystal towers and energy barriers, long abandoned but still functional. Lyra touched the walls, feeling the pulses of energy as if greeting old friends. We're safe here, she said, exhaling for the first time in hours. For now. Jack nodded, keeping his rifle ready. We won't stay long. They will come. Lyra's gaze softened. Jack, thank you. For believing in me, for saving me. I did not think humans could be so brave. Jack smiled faintly. We surprise even ourselves sometimes. The next day, Lyra regained some strength. Jack had given her food and water, and the sanctuary's energy seemed to heal her faster than anything he had seen. She demonstrated her abilities more confidently, creating small orbs of light that floated around her, illuminating the dark corners of the sanctuary. This is incredible, Jack said, watching the orbs. You could turn the tide against your enemies if you mastered this. Lyra nodded, a determined glint in her eyes. I will, but not for revenge. For survival, and for my people. Jack respected her resolve. Humanity was known for its courage, for its ability to endure and rise above challenges. And he could see that same spark in Lyra. She had been broken, yes, but her spirit was unyielding. Their respite was short-lived. Late in the evening, distant vibrations reached their ears, patrols closing in. Jack's instincts flared. They found us, he said grimly. Lyra's wings twitched and her glow intensified. I can help, she said, but I need you with me. Together we can protect the sanctuary. Jack nodded. Then let's show them what humans can do. As the first patrol approached, Jack and Lyra prepared. He took strategic positions, using the sanctuary's natural barriers to his advantage, while Lyra concentrated, creating walls of light that shimmered and bent, confusing the intruders. The patrols fired their energy weapons, but Jack's quick thinking and use of terrain allowed him to disable several before they could get close. Lyra's powers had grown since their escape. She manipulated light, blinding enemies and creating illusions that made the patrols hesitate. Her energy flowed like water, responding to Jack's commands without words. Together they were a formidable force, human ingenuity paired with Starborn power. After a tense and chaotic battle, the last of the patrol retreated. Jack and Lyra stood amidst the glowing towers, breathing heavily. Lyra smiled, exhausted but triumphant. We did it, she said. Jack lowered his rifle. For now. But this is just the beginning. We need allies if we're going to challenge the regime for good. Over the next few days they prepared. Lyra's powers strengthened with each passing hour, guided by Jack's tactical mind and her own determination. They repaired the sanctuary's defenses, setting traps and creating energy barriers. Jack taught her about combat strategy, about thinking ahead, about using weaknesses against stronger foes. And slowly, Lyra regained her confidence. She spoke of her people, of their customs, and the hope that she carried for them. Jack listened, learning not just about her abilities, but about courage, resilience, and the importance of hope. One evening, as they sat beneath the glowing towers, Lyra said softly, Jack, You have shown me that humans can be more than they seem, that even in a world of shadows there can be light. Jack smiled. And you've shown me that courage comes in many forms. Yours is just brighter than most. Their bond grew not through words of romance but through trust, mutual respect, and shared purpose. Jack realized that humans, though small in the vast galaxy, could inspire greatness in others. Lyra realized that she could combine her alien powers with human ingenuity to create something truly unstoppable. The day came when they knew they could no longer hide. Reports of patrols had increased, and the alien regime would not rest. Jack and Lyra prepared for the journey to rally the remaining Starborn rebels. It would be dangerous but necessary. As they moved out, Lyra's wings spread wide, glowing in the morning light. She looked at Jack, her eyes filled with determination. "Together," she said. Jack nodded, his heart steady. Together. They crossed the valley, leaving the sanctuary behind, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. Patrols, mercenaries, even the darkest creatures of the galaxy could not stop them. The human and the Starborn girl moved as one, courage and light intertwined, a symbol of hope for all who would follow. The first battle was only the beginning. Their story of human ingenuity and Starborn power combined would become legend across worlds. And Jack understood more than ever that humans were capable of inspiring greatness, even in the darkest of places. As the sun rose higher, casting light on distant mountains and alien forests, Jack glanced at Lyra. She was strong now, not just in body but in spirit, and he knew without a doubt that together they could challenge the regime, free her people, and change the course of the galaxy. For the first time since he found her in that dungeon, Jack felt hope, not just for Lyra but for the future. The Starborn girl had been rescued, yes, but she had also awakened something in him. Something that proved humanity's courage, ingenuity, and heart could rise above even the most impossible odds. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and darkness, but Jack and Lyra would face it together. And somewhere in the distance the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging the bond between human and Starborn, the light of courage that could not be extinguished. They walked on, side by side, ready to face the battles ahead, ready to inspire, ready to survive.